The Alpha have a grand city in Rathir, but stone for stone, I would rate Odessa among the greatest cities in the world. Or I will when it's complete. This city will stand for centuries. You can tell that already just by standing here. History is being made as we speak. I took up learning it as a hobby. Next thing you know, I'm good enough to share the knowledge. All for the right price, of course. I perform a number of odd jobs and studies on behalf of the researchers in the laboratories. Always work to be done. The walls are home to the assistants, the mundane researchers like myself. We strive to ensure that the institutions of the Isles are optimally supported.
Are you... You have come! The new guest of Sandstone Villa. Thank the gods you've arrived. I'm Cordan Passant, a scrivener of the Domus, and I have need of your help to solve a rather delicate situation. Many of us come far from our homeland for the opportunity of success. A new city opens up societal ranks. I've been a scrivener in the Domus for over 10 years. I'm often called upon to compose official correspondence and letters of a diplomatic nature. The Domus Politica handles all of the documentation that's needed to support the Templar diplomacy. The gnomes do not acknowledge war as an acceptable circumstance. We cannot condone either side until a peace is reached. The benefits either side may gain from such conflict are short-term when compared to the decades of rebuilding and fortifying that such a war will necessitate. The Templars exemplify what's great about our people: wisdom, ingenuity, bravery, and justice. Gnomish society is led by few who rely on the efforts of many. Here in the walls we work so that they are free to lead us more effectively. I was asked to write a letter of contingency. Should things for the Alpha turn dire, it would establish a known peace between Odessa and the Tuatha armies. It was never meant to be sent, only prepared, but it was accidentally taken by the courier. It must be recovered. Ah, yes. There was a tad of artistic license that I took when drafting that correspondence. I needed your attention by any means. I apologize for the deceit, but I assure you my business is genuine. You are not constrained by gnomish protocol. I cannot complete this task myself. Should anyone see me correct that mistake, it would not only cost my reputation, but the reputation of the gnome that ordered I write that letter. I am bound to preserve our integrity. I was the one that processed the paperwork which established your placement in Sandstone Villa. I know who put you there, and that's why I left that letter. You need to find the courier. It was a traveller by the name of Parwan Well. She said she was making her way to Rathir, but she might have stopped in the travellers' camp in Apotir. Sun Camp is the name, I believe. It was sent to Rathir via courier. A traveller by the name of Parwan Well. She was the last to see the letter. She must have some idea of what happened.
Yes? What do you want? I am not in the habit of making conversation with strangers, especially one of your stature. Please be quick. The shining jewel of knowledge. An oasis of reason and order, carved by the gnomes into the dusty wilds of Datir. Unlike the lofty idealism of the Alpha and the messy pragmatism of the humans, we gnomes proudly embrace the virtues of reason and order. As such, we must maintain neutrality in these periodic wars that spring up. We cannot risk tainting our knowledge by taking sides, you understand. From their council in the Forum, the Templars guide the advancement of our society. Our tremendous successes are due to their unswerving pursuit of knowledge. Each Templar is allowed a wide degree of freedom in the projects they sponsor, but they are ultimately accountable to the rest of the Forum. It is an estate that I have ordered to be kept empty for when I have need of it, such as now. I see. Think very, very carefully about what you are saying. Octien is a Templar. he is in a position of the highest authority. And who, may I ask, are you? For you to accuse Octien without having a direct confession is not only meaningless, but contrary to all our procedures. Even if this were true, or even already suspected, it would have to be corroborated by Octien himself. That requires a confession. As he is not here to present the charges himself, I must assume that no such confession exists. Now, I have done all I can for you. Please, trouble me no further with this matter, especially with such insufficient evidence. We have already discussed this. Nothing short of a confession would convict him. As such, Templar Octien will remain undisturbed in the livrarium.
Ah, the guest of Sandstone Villa. How can the Domus Politica be of service today? Though only half-built, our city already stands as a beacon of enlightenment in this desert. The garrison is one of the oldest buildings in the walls, and nearly as old as a livrarium. Me? I'm the foremost scrivener we have. If you need a letter or tome duplicated, see me. A page every 3 minutes, guaranteed. The walls house the infrastructure of Odessa. The bursars, the laboratories, the garrison, the prison, even the Arcadium. If you need anything, you can find it here. The Arcadium is where I often find what I need, be it a work of art or a household item. The financial hub of Odessa. Larger merchant transactions take place there, instead of the Arcadium. The laboratories are where most scientific and magical study takes place in Odessa.
Hello. I'm here to send regrets on behalf of Templar Joriel. While she wishes to extend you aid, she's stymied by protocol. What she gave you was an official response. I'm here to give you another response. A personal one. I am a political aide for Templar Joriel. I operate in a number of capacities for the Templars' official and unofficial business. My superior has suspected for some time the crimes that you've levied against Templar Octien. But like you, she is frustrated by his status. Allow me to be direct. If you can make Templar Octien publicly acknowledge his crimes, then Templar Joriel will reward you. She will be your patron of sorts. The city is a marvelous place. Recently, my work has taken me farther from its walls for more often, and I'm sadder for it. I am an aide to Templar Joriel. Usually, my work takes the form of drafting letters, taking notes of various functions, and so on. My superior is a very, very busy person. It is unfortunate that some wrongs escape her notice, and those she does notice cannot always be immediately righted. You wish to bring the Templar to justice, yes? Then you must get him to publicly acknowledge his crimes in some form. As my superior no doubt told you, the Templar may be found in the livrarium. I suggest you go there.
You look like you have some free time on your hands. Care to earn a bit of coin? It is truly a wondrous place. The work I've been able to accomplish that they've sponsored, truly marvelous. I'm responsible for going through vast amounts of experiment results and distilling them into concise data. With that, the Basilica Nostra can qualify our findings. We process all the data from experiments both housed internally and externally. Once compiled, we send it on to the Basilica Nostra. Uncatalogued tomes are stored and protected in warded containers. If you save me some time, I'll pay you well. All I need you to do is go to each container and dispel the ward on it. I'll pay you for each one you manage to dispel. Excellent. I'll have some brought up. They'll be in the upstairs alcove waiting for me.
Interesting. Taller than I would have thought, but still, you will serve as a subject. You are the guest at Sandstone Villa, correct? Otherwise, I'll have to look elsewhere. This is a city built on principles. It is the gnomish ideal. Our plans, followed diligently by many workers to perfect harmony. Whispers have spread through town about the work done there. The work that involved a certain someone in present company. This experiment will conclude a decade's worth of study. It is to observe kinetic mana aggregation. I've collected a number of wild specimens from these lands at great expense. I wish you to fight them while I observe. There are 2 reasons. First, you're not of the Hospitalis quarters, which means I can legally use you for a subject. Second, you were present at Alistar. Don't deny it. I've learned enough. You must have been exposed to powerful magic. Very good, very good. I'd like to get started immediately. Please meet me in my laboratory in the Edessa mine. I've been a researcher in Edessa for so many years, I forgot when I began. It coincided with the start of my study, on the rise of magic. The grand proving ground of knowledge. Here, a researcher can make a claim, experiment with it, and follow its results all the way to the Basilica. If you aren't enjoying the sights of the walls, then have you seen the Arcadium, or the markets? There might be more of use to you there. A private area for you to fight the specimens I've amassed for this experiment. When it is concluded, I promise that the rewards will be worthwhile. Now come, we must depart.
Always happy to see a new face. Been some time since we've had a new arrival. Edessa is different from Rathir. Everything about this city is planned, all its details already known. Rathir was built so haphazardly it'd keep surprising you. Most don't want to live here, but we Wiles have been refugees since the Tuatha first attacked. We're just happy to stop running. I know how to make a door open when it doesn't want to, if that's what you're asking. Pretty useful in a city with a few secrets. I came to Edessa with my brother Harrit and my sister Gwenfir. We were only children when we had to flee the fires of war, but here we are. Wretched curs, all of them. If it weren't for my siblings, I'd be fighting them even now.
You want something? All I've got to my name's my father's trousers and a bad hangover. So piss off. Things used to be better here. Now Apatir's looking like the better option, thanks to you. I heard what you did. Thanks. I hear you helped start cleaning it up. I'm sure you have the people's thanks for that. Used to do a tour or two as an archer with some mercenaries. They turned to banditry and I just turned to ale. Ain't the sandstone villa from what I hear. But I've slept in worse places, I can promise you that. Ain't good at much, but I don't need to be noticed if I ain't looking to be. For a bit of coin, I can teach anyone to be the same.
Haven't seen you around. New to the quarter? Been sick so long I haven't seen anyone new in a while. I'm just happy that for once in our lives, Ara and I no longer have to keep running. There's a place for us to wait, to rest, to recoup. Just another refugee of this horrible war. Ara and I were the only ones from my village that got out safely. Lost everything in that war. Lost our parents, our farm. All I have left is my sister Ara, and I'm just a burden on her now. We had to start a new life for ourselves here, but soon after we arrived, I got sick, and Ara had to support me.
Well, don't suppose I'm speaking to the new guest of the Sandstone Villa. I heard someone had taken occupancy there. I suppose you've come to the quarters to slum it, eh? Or are you inclined to lend a hand here? The gnomes built this place for their achievements. Don't mistake that. If you're valuable to them, you're in. And if you're not, you're out of luck. The gnomes gave us the quarters and told us it was this or the wastes, so we had to make it work. I had to make it work. I knew a thing or two about keeping coins. Didn't take long for me to earn more than any of these poor sods could hope. Gnomes didn't like that. Let's just say I had my ear to the ground and learned that someone important was staying in Sandstone Villa. Someone of means. We're in a curious position here. The gnomes are obliged to help us, but they don't really want us dirtying up their city. So they shove us in here. Better than the wastes, but not by much. And if we try to improve the situation, we'll be turned out. We need someone who can stand up for us without getting us evicted, and who isn't afraid of bending some gnomish laws. Well, it's not all legal. There's petitions to destroy some contraband in the armory, and one to smuggle a letter to a man in prison. But there's also one to get the merchants in the Arcadium to share their profits. That's more straightforward. I think that might be in order. Here's an advance for your help. You'll get the rest when the jobs are finished. You can find the petitions board in the quarters. Answer 2 of them and I'll hold the job complete. Amalur can tell you more about the tasks, and will reward you for doing each one. There's a board in the quarters where the people make petitions to improve things around here. Amalur keeps the board. Speak with him if you have more questions.
Yeah, we've no clean mugs and no clean beds. There's no tavern business running today. Nice to have a peaceful place in this desert. Got bandits raising hell in Apatir, Jotun in Menethir, and just great stretches of nothing in the Hollowlands. Half of the poor folks in this place can't wipe their own asses after a day of work. My swill's the only thing that keeps them smiling half the time. The rat's den of Odessa, if ever there were one. Few joys we outsiders can afford, so I keep the swill cheap as I can.
Simeon Crow at your service. Got a deck and ready to read Fate, if that's your game. Odessa? Ask a gnome. I mean, I'm just building the place, that's all. My uncle first told me how to use the cards. I'm rubbish at most magic, but somehow I have a bit of skill with seeing fate. Not the nicest place to stay in this city. I might consider moving back to Whitestone now that I hear it's on the upswing of things. It's a rough place, where the hungry gather and the poor rest. The workers have it no better. Was going to set up a shop in the market. Left my home in Ymer to do it. But I spent nearly all I had to get here. Had to start doing labor to get my bread. Bonetown was a hard place to live, but it might be better off now, thanks to what you've done. Have you been there? I never should have left. Beautiful little town, despite those uppity Elfar.
Hello? The guest of Sandstone Villa, I presume. These gnomes do like to believe that everyone ignores their whispers. What's needed? And I thought only the Fae were capable of taming Datier's wilds. Seems the gnomes are adamant about raising the city here. These are where we labourers may keep after ourselves when not working. Part home, part camp, part poorhouse. I've been a lot of things in my life. Farmer, warrior, scholar. I've done things for pay that I'm not proud of. I suppose this life is my penance.
By the gods, it feels good to take a moment to talk. I've been working so long, I know how an Auric feels. Beasts of burden, don't they have them where you're from? Came here with my brothers, Nerrit and Herrit, after our home got burned down on the Twilly coast. Gnomes will protect us from the Tuatha. They've got to. It's the home for outsiders in the city. Well, say for Sandstone Villa. I hear it's nice in there, not crowded and dirty. Such a beautiful land. I'd like to go back, but it seems like we're stuck here for now. A place of cinders and ghosts. It's where the Tuatha made landfall on the plains of Erethel all those years ago. Nothing left there now. They're below, in the belly of the crater. The buildings almost look like they float on the water. Just me and the twins, Nerrit and Herrit, grew up in the plains of Erethel in Culm until the war came. We lost our home, our parents, but made it here. They are quite a pair, those two. I try to look out for them, but sometimes I just feel like their mother.
Yeah, this won't do. This won't do at all. Profits haven't been up since... Oh, yeah, excuse me, you're the courier, yes? Good. You're early. We can begin at once. Many have sought shelter from war within our walls. We have offered what we can to these outsiders, who built the city in exchange. I am the head clerk of Motus Mining's home office. Was so important, the Bursas even gave me a chest in their vault. Though privately controlled, we're significant enough to be integrated into several municipal services. The Bursas finances our expeditions now. The walls are the centre of Odessa's labours. Every gnome gladly dedicates his or her life to the furthering of our great civilization. Why, the delivery to the Motus Mining branch office in the Hollowlands. Now it seems we've misplaced our copy, so you'll have to reclaim the handbook from my old headquarters in Apotir. I need someone to go to the Motus headquarters in Apotir and recover a handbook, then deliver it to the Motus headquarters in the Hollowlands. Good. Should go to the old Motus mining offices in Apotir. Once you've found the book, bring it to a poor Vire.
Got the forge hot, stranger. If you need repair work for armor or weapons, I'm your man. I came here with nothing, but managed to build myself a nice slice of life. The gnomes even invest some money here. Was one of the wretches working for Motus Mining in Apotir. Got out before the sickness, gods rest them, but I've been here for years now. Aye, a vile thing in Apotir. Spread like a cold, killed like a plague. I can provide you with some smithing if you need. Repairs or salvaging, whatever's at hand. Aye? And I suppose you're here to preach the virtues of helping my lazy neighbours, more like buzzards. I've been there before. I know what life is like in the gutters. I'll pay my part, aye. But it's you that's more deserving, I think. Here's some coin.
I can promise you'll always find the goods you need at Sembles. Care to browse? Weren't raised here, but it's home well enough. But the only place in Detir that doesn't feel like the wind will blow it away. Came here with my father more than a few years back. Poor Dad died a few years ago, and I just took up the business when he did. Been here since. Don't rightly got one type of stock here. I tend to sell all manner of things you might need while roaming the wastes. Share them with who? With... Oh, I see. It's not enough that I scrape out something for myself. You can't succeed in this city without someone coming to collect. You mean it, don't you? You actually care about them. Fine, I'll give my part. And thanks for your compassion.
Well, it seems you're not here for work, based on how the gnomes seem to be treating you. What can I do for you? Most humans in Alpha feel like there's no opportunity here, but somehow I've managed. Same with the merchants in the markets and in the Arcadium. I lead the construction efforts in the Isles. The gnomes draw up the plans, of course, but I am the one that realizes them. Best tread softly, stranger. These are the gnomes' prized grounds. They barely let me build the place.
Welcome to Seller's Emporium Alchemical. Gnomes seem skittish when you walk in, but I reckon it's a peculiarity of them. It's a nice enough place if the gnomes take a shine to what you can do. I can make potions like their greatest, so I get to do trade in the Arcadium. I came to Odessa a few years back. Used to live up in Galette, in the Red Marches. A shame about what happened there, if what I hear is true. I've wandered Detir nearly all my life. There's a trove of reagents that can save your life, if you know how to use them. Lunatic cultists took over and ruined the town. Someone put a stop to them, thankfully. Yes, of course. Always thinking of the downtrodden. I guess I could lift the charity tax. I hope it returns to the peaceful haven I knew it to be, now that you've done such a good turn. I knew better than to think my prosperity would go unnoticed. It seems all my success helps others instead of myself. Generosity is not something seen that often here. If not in my neighbors, I might place my trust in you. I'll donate to the poor, and why not to you as well?
Ah, the guest of Sandstone Villa. If you've a head for books, then please peruse my wares. When I was younger, I used to be a scrivener in the Domus Politica. But like so many, my eyesight began fading, so I stopped writing books and began selling. I carry books and tomes of all shapes and sizes, plus another few odds and ends for anyone curious. We carry a wide assortment of reading materials. We've historical texts such as Nemmius Pergam's On the History and Nature of the Fae and Cranius's Gnomish History. We also carry texts and manuscripts such as Metallurgy and Method, and even the more whimsical children's literature of Phineas Calidus. Though many here concern themselves with study and academics, we also have fine craftsmen and artisans in the walls. Much of my stock is their work.
Ah, and so our guest from the villa has come to my shop. Is there anything in particular you're looking for? We have some of the brightest minds and best intentions you can find in the Feylands. It is lucky for all that we settled here. I make my living as a gem crafter. I have a small stock of my own, but I can also perform sage crafting services, if needed. I used to make gems for use in a number of the Basilica's experiments. Why, just recently, I crafted a number of items to be sent to Alistar Tower. Oh, nothing special, just a regular shipment of goods. Nothing out of the ordinary, anyway.
So the scriptures of Mitharu have been handed to us. I too have been asked by Reddle to hand these words to the denizens of all that can help. The gnomes do not keep the faith of Mitharu. That much is enough for me. Mitharu is the great order of the world, who grants purpose and structure to all life. Mitharu and Riddlemane guide my work. Riddlemane has much, but he understands that he cannot enact the change that could help us without jeopardizing all of our safety. Indeed, Mitharu smiles on a few, and it is their responsibility to share such providence. Your service will not go unrewarded. It is one of sorts. It is a board of petitions made by those of the Hospitalis quarters. I keep it for the good of this place.
Pardon? Oh, I see. The Home Office finally managed to dig up a copy of the Mortis Mining Branch Handbook. Thank you for delivering it. Well, I'm happy to learn that the Hollowlands branch has successfully received the instruction book. You have my thanks for this.
What the hell are you doing here? If you're going to stand out there and gape at me, you're going to get us both in trouble. Bet it's a lovely city to be in for a gnome. For outsiders, it's a place of burden. They make it uncomfortable, so we might leave. I only stole a loaf of bread, and for that I'm sorry. But I've been in here for weeks. The gnomes like to think their city shouldn't need jails, but they'll use any excuse to throw one of us quarterlings in here. Just another Burke trying to scratch a living in this desert sand. But it's easier to survive out there than in this blasted city. Half-men bastards. They'll look for any reason to throw one of us outsides into this brig. They're trying to intimidate us. Really? I've been in here so long I thought they would have all forgotten about me. This means a lot to me. Thanks, mate.
You want something? All I've got to my name's my father's trousers and a bad hangover. So piss off. Yeah.
Welcome, stranger. There are always prayers to Mitharu, but few answerers, save those from Riddlemane. Have you come to help? Esclad Tyner is a troubled man, but many are those who need redemption. Though he may have wronged, he must not lose his spirit. Though the gnomes are capable of greatness, Mitharu does not smile on those that take from the meek. You have restored them, and ourselves.
So, it looks like you've done your share of the legwork, eh? Happy to pay someone that's dear to us. Take this coin. You've earned it. Now, I don't think there was anything else, was there?
Well, look at you. Don't seem to be quite as busy as the other humans working the scaffolding. You might be perfect. Listen, stranger, would you like to earn a bit of coin? No sweat off your brow, promise. Every now and then, the scholars take an assistant from the laboratories in the walls to the Basilica. Right now, that's me. The Basilica is where the scholars of Odessa reside. Not many assistants there besides me, but I manage. The scholars are the most educated gnomes. You could say they are the thinkers of our society. Lost? The Basilica Nostra is home to Odessa's scholars. The Forum is the center of Odessa, and behind that is a librarium, Odessa's library. The consistorium is, well, under construction. Even in its unfinished state, the Forum is a perfection of architecture, a fitting place for the seat of our government. The librarium is our storehouse of knowledge. The works of many scholars, sages, historians, and mages can be found within. I don't know all the details about it. I assist many scholars with their works here. I know that Scholar Naren was involved in linguistics. It's safe to say the experiment will likely be some verbal study. Scholar Naren has quarters in the Basilica Nostra. Speak with her and she'll get you started.
Well, our newest guest, I hope you are enjoying the Sandstone Villa. It is a lovely building. This city will be a beacon to all of the other races, to let them know of our artistry, our resilience, and our mastery of knowledge and magic. The art of rhetoric is essential for any Templar to master. And of course, I excel at it more than anyone. But such knowledge is better shared, agreed? I sponsor many of the scholars of physiology and humoral applications in the Basilica Nostra. With all that's happening, the world will need healers. The Templars are the leaders of the gnomish people. We are many, and sometimes at odds, but we have the goodness of our people, all peoples, in our heart.
Have half a coin for Ara. Sirius isn't feeling well enough to work, and I reckon I could eat today. Isn't anything special to me. What Mum and Dad always told me at any rate. But I keep after my sister Sirius as best I can. The gnomes got quite a jewel, this city, and they aren't looking to get our grubby handprints on it. The quarters have two kinds of folk. Those that work the scaffolds and those that beg. You eat just as well either way.
You're alive. What an unexpected and quite unfortunate turn of events. For starters, he expected you to be rotting in a sandy ditch somewhere. Supper for the carrion birds. Understand, you and I are alike. All we both want is to see this business reach its end. Did it? Here you stand, suspecting me of a great many crimes, yet unable to lift a finger. Tell me, who has the power? Or what? You'll slaughter me in a murderous rage? Typical. Your kind is as predictable as it is stupid. I'm afraid you'll find me quite hard to kill. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for you. Attack me in this city, and I won't just have you clapped in irons. No, I'll hand you over to the scholars in the Basilica for research. A long career supporting vivification research has left me with certain advantages. You could say I'm more resilient than most of your enemies. The wise and the foolish both die. Is that justice? With the will of souls, I can change that. I can choose who deserves life. To think that yous gave away such a gift, to you. Well, we've seen how you wasted your life. Perhaps I'll give Ventrinio your corpse to examine. After all, you met your first death as his assistant. It would be a reunion. Of course. And it's such a pity you'll never find out.
Well, if setting fire to the livrarium and hiring assassins is not an admission of guilt on Octien's part, I certainly don't know what is. It is clear that we Templars must make him assume responsibility for his actions, overt as well as hidden. Even though you went against my explicit instruction, you were effective. You have my respect. Should he survive the wounds earned in battle, I should think so. To that effect, I have ordered a moratorium on all of his current studies and projects. All, perhaps, save this mysterious Well of Souls. That one will take some deliberation, considering its various ethical and societal ramifications. Regardless, Gnome Society is in your debt, and we always pay what is owed. Ventrinio Desalini. One name I never expected to be brought into this business. It seems he has escaped the gallows yet again. I believe your friend Scholar Hughes may be able to help. While you were here, my people found him salvaging the tomes Octien attempted to burn. Now, you must excuse me. A Templar has fallen from power, and Edessa's political buzzards are circling.
It was my mistake to assume that Octien would go quietly, or that he would leave evidence behind. Such a waste. Some of those books he burned were centuries old, but luckily for us, I was able to salvage some from the flames. Oh, a great many prizes. Treatises on the nature of death, tables upon tables of autopsy analyses, but only one item of true value. Octien's diary. Based off of what I've read in these pages, Ventrinio has been working on an island off of Cluricon. I'm afraid the dark wood of Cluricon still hides our Tuatha enemies. But this young lady, Aileen Shear, says she has a solution for that. When you reach Ventrinio, beware. He is certainly a genius, but complicated. He may try killing you the second time for good measure. His mind may be dangerous, but it holds the secret to entering Alabastra, and you must find it. Oh, I will. In fact, I believe I'll be staying in Edessa to offer what support I can. With Octien out of the way, the people will be needing a new Templar, after all.
I've waited so long for these. There are some things you simply cannot do with ordinary blades. Beautiful, exquisite things. The city has no parallel, and it's only half built. I can't even conceive of all the contributions we will make to these lands in learning and policy. It is where the greatest minds of the gnomes, the scholars, can determine the underlying rules and laws of existence. From here, our power is born. I got my start doing vivisections in the laboratories. I showed enough knowledge of humoral balance and physiology that I was asked to join the Basilica. My colleagues are always at the forefront of research. I must stay at my best to keep up.
Well, when I sent O'Dern to recruit subjects, I didn't think I'd find one quite as tall as yourself. But he has done well. In fact, I'd say you make the perfect test case for my newest work. The Basilica is currently funding more remote experiments than ever before. Why would they do so much work externally? Makes it difficult to keep track of it all. I've specialised in the study of languages and discourse. Of course, the Basilica sees no end of political applications for my research, so I'm happy to be well funded. Not all the scholars are dedicated to academia. Some, like Eilili Ehrencourt, are put on bureaucratic duties between projects. It's not always ideal. In so many words, yes, I'm developing a potion vital for future diplomacy. One that will let the user understand foreign tongues. But it requires calibration. Currently, the potion grants universal understanding, but it will not properly permit speech. I will administer a new formula. The spells in my lab shall localize the effects, so I can ask a few questions of you in various tongues. Yes, Now, I will just administer the potion and we can begin. If you can understand what I am saying, please tell me my name. Well, on to the next question. Tell me, where can I find the Court of Summer? This is rather remarkable progress. We've covered much more ground than my other subjects. Now, I am not quite as versed in the language of the Jotun as I really need to be for this, but I'll attempt to ask my final question anyways. There is an army of Fae named the Tuatha. Tell me, where are they from? Well, that was less successful than I would have liked, but the data will be useful to me nonetheless. I'm happy to have had your help with this. Take these potions as a reward with my thanks.
Guest of Sandstone Villa or no, I'm afraid I have little time of which to suffer a distraction. Odessa's done a lot for the sake of this desert. It's our coin that keeps Ironfast Keep in mail, and it keeps the mines open. Somehow, it has fallen to me to make sure the Grand Bursar is appropriating gold to meet our needs correctly. I was not trained for this. In reality, the positions of scholars in the Basilica are abstract enough that we are called upon to monitor a variety of concerns and issues, academic and banal.
Another series of results from these damned fools in the Naros lands. Don't they format their data at all? It is by far the most important location in the Feylands. It houses the summation of Gnomish knowledge, culture, and progress. I've given my life to interpreting the results from our experiments and learning how it can be used by the Basilica Nostra. It's my duty, my role. We conduct experiments within and without the city, as well as aggregate the information collected therein.
Ah, you have come. Splendid, splendid. We can get things underway. Oh, don't mind my specimens. I can assure you that they are heavily sedated, completely under control. I've amassed quite the menagerie. I would like you to fight them. I've paced the study so that there will be a gradation of difficulty. Their sedatives should wear off presently. Now, I'll get to my observation area, and then the study can begin. Well, that's grand, isn't it? I can't wait to have this written up. I may get to speak in the Basilica Nostra. You did very well out there. Please, take these potions to heal any injuries sustained during the experiment. Thank you once again.
The Hierophant blesses Sun Camp and all that walk within its boundaries. What is needed? I am Ajin, the leader of the Sun Camp. Under my leadership, I have created one of the largest and most profitable camps in the Travelers. The title Queen of Staves is reserved for the oldest and wisest of the camp leaders. The Hierophant awarded it to me for my service. Sun Camp is under my authority by the blessed ordination of the Hierophant. We mainly subsist on trade from the city of Odessa. You would do well to not question those higher than yourself, child. And the Hierophant is not one to be questioned by anyone. From the Hierophant we are given prophecies, portents. The travelers are blind, but the Hierophant sees clearly and leads them to prosperity. We are not the rabble that many take us for, nor the beggars we are assumed to be. I hold such judgments in contempt. We have our own life in this desert. The travelers of my camp are profitable, orderly, and obedient, all without walls and gates. Go to Whitestone and see for yourself. Are those people any happier? Pfft, they're miserable.
Well, I seem to have attracted a guest. What can I help you with?
Arjean is the leader and founder of Sun Camp. She must be one of the oldest travelers in the Feylands. The woman's heart is cold iron.
Come now, you don't expect me to have actually read the thing. I have my reputation as a courier to think of.
We don't deal in swords and wars or magic. Clever hands and quick eyes are what suit a traveler best. Surely you're joking. Everyone knows the Hierophant, one of the pillars of a traveler's life. The Hierophant uses prophecy to see what we must steal and steers our hands. Without that, we would be blind. Sun Camp is built around trade. Argene started it before Odessa was built, and she keeps her tinker's hands very busy.
Oh, that would be the squeaky little gnome from Odessa. Smelled like vellum and book paste, as I recall. I was hired to take the note from him. Sure as rain. A gnomish scholar named Arancourt hired me to take it and throw it in the quarry. That's where you can find that letter if you're looking. And I can even give you Arancourt's orders as proof, if you pay the right price. But it is worth something to you. And that is surprisingly enough reason for me to charge you for it. I told you, I threw the damn thing in the quarry in Apatir, like I was paid to. If it's piqued your interest so much, I have the orders instructing me to do so. They're yours, for the right price. This isn't the war sworn. We don't carry oaths or that nonsense. Still, I suppose I could cut you a break. Here, just take it.
Looks like you're used to dust on your feet. Willing to help an old tinker collecting some iron? I've been in Sun Camp since it started, and Argene's been right here with me. She saw Odessa carved into the side of that crater. She keeps faithful to the Hierophant, and it seems in turn that we stay prosperous. Not a bad arrangement. I've been tinkering in this camp almost as long as it's been around. It isn't much like Star or Moon. Argene runs this camp fine, but after all these years, I don't even know her all that well. A good many people love the travelers as thieves, but we first started with people like me, tinkers, journeymen, and wanderers. Make my trade as a tinker, fixing pots and spades and shovels for common folk. But with the war on, iron's been scarce. I'm too old to go around scrounging for bits and scraps. If you find any iron components on your travels, I'll pay well for them. That's good. Iron isn't exactly like gold. It should be pretty commonplace if you look. Or even some time at Briente's forge might help. But I'm a tinker, mind you, not a smith. I can't work with finished pieces. I need iron components. Music to my ears. Hand it over and I'll pay you well for it. Well, around, I suspect. I haven't been out on the road in some time, but as I recall, it's not too hard to find. The blessing of the Hierophant be with you. There's a whole world of hidden secrets you can learn with my training, if you're willing to pay. It was a mining area once. Now there's not much that's left to dig out of the soil, from what I hear. Still, there's enough of other things to scavenge in the mines and quarries if you keep your eyes peeled. Argene's got the run of things here in Sun Camp, and she does a good job doing it, too. It isn't hard to learn how to find what's hidden. You've just got to look for the usual patterns, the same clues, and you sort it all out. They say the desert's a barren place, but Sun Camp brings a bit of light and color to these rocks by the Hierophant's grace. People in towns and cities think we travelers are shunned. In truth, we're freer than they'll ever know.
Do a bit of smithing if that's what you're looking for. Got the forge hot? The woman's a loyal servant to the Hierophant, and for that we've seen profit. She and our seer look out for us all. Used to be proper artisans that crafted items for sale in Sun Camp. People still talk of gems and ornaments that they bought here ages ago. It isn't a hard life, really. I had it hard once, working a brothel in Apatir, but Argene let me swing a hammer for my coin now. Isn't a place I'd go back to. Had enough of whoring myself and scavenging for coin. It's a rough and tumble place.
You found the letter. But why would Scholar Arancourt want it to be sent and lost? She commissioned the letter in the first place. It is above my station to question her, but there is a higher plan at work. Please, stranger, find Ehrencourt and learn what is happening. She can be found in the Isles, probably in the Basilica Nostra. She needs to be confronted with the information we found regarding the letter.
I have heard that someone was helping my subordinate, Corden. It seems he has lost a very, very important letter. While I applaud your diligence in tracking this to me, I'm sad to say that Corden's error is grievous. He will be punished for losing the letter. The scholars first found this crater brimming with strange potential. In studying the area, more equipment than people came, until a city was born. It is the product of centuries of learning. Here we distill the experiences of our race into axioms, knowledge that future generations may live by. While my background lies in the study of magical acuity contextualized by race, somehow I ended up being a basilica liaison to the Domus concerning Fae and Alfar. That is a half-truth. I requested the letter of Corden, true, but it was not my idea. That came from a higher source. The Templars have reached a tentative quorum regarding our stance in the war, but a cautious few requested I draft this letter. A Templar must be obeyed. But what can be done when they give conflicting orders? So I had the letter written, and Corden lost it. Damn it all. I knew that dirty traveller was not capable of performing even the simplest of tasks. I will not allow you the privilege of extorting me. I will resign my position and name Corden as my replacement. We shall see how he fares. I would be very careful if I were you. You are known to the Templars, and it was never their intention to treat you lightly.
You won't believe this. I'm being presented with the opportunity to join the Basilica Nostra. It must have been from your help. I never thought in my wildest years. I only hope to correct a mistake. It will take time to be approved, but here is your reward with my thanks. Of course. I'm indebted to you. This is the least I could do. The order to set you in Sandstone Villa came from Templar Joriel. He's the one interested in you, and she's in the Forum. If you wish to converse with her, you should go quickly. No one knows how long a Templar might remain in one place. According to several writs that have passed my desk, she will be in the Basilica Nostra on business. Joriel is an extremely busy figure in this city. If you wish a word with her, now is the time to have it.
I do not know how it happened, but here we are. How astute of you to make it to this point. I might have been surprised to be uncovered so quickly, but Edessa is a city of whispers. I'm almost shocked it took this long for us to meet. I have been the one that has orchestrated your observation. There was much to gain, and relatively little to lose. You must understand, I meant no harm. With Octien indisposed, there is much work for me to do. Too long has he operated outside of the knowledge of the Forum. We have all his creations under strict scrutiny now, thanks in part to you. The Praetorians have a saying, an army is but a single being, and every soldier is a weapon it wields. If every common soldier is a weapon, what of you? Certainly a rare commodity in these contested times, if not a kingmaker. Your presence here is too tempting for some of my colleagues, so I observe you to observe them. That is the game we Templars must play. Yes and no. You wield a power new and greater than many are capable of understanding, and to unforeseen repercussions. I worry of that. But greater still is our response to this power, how we approach it, and how we attempt to understand it. This city, our race, is built on the promise of plans reaching fruition, and as convicted as some are, others might be distracted by you. A simple enough question. The answer is unfortunately complicated. I speak with the authority of a Templar. It is enough to make my suspicions law, if need be. So I must remain silent, if I wish to learn what I need. No. To speak frankly, I had intended this observation to be conducted with your awareness. You were never meant to know that someone was watching you. It could make my quarry suspicious. It is a frustrating turn of events. But how did you come here? Who exposed this to you in the first place? Bruton? Bodyguard? I never hired any... Ugh, by Athene. I've been outmaneuvered. Whoever hired Bruton likely knew you would be watched and knows you're meeting with me. You have to find Bruton. Whoever he's working for, they can't have good plans for you or me. We've been had. I gave you Sandstone Villa, hoping to use it to uncover the Templars who have been plotting to exploit you for war. But in doing so, my quarry uses their agent Bruton to trace me through you. They'll have both of our heads if we don't stop them. I've been trying to rout out elements of our leadership whose ambitions supersede the will of our people. I only hope I haven't failed.